So it always strikes me, how high maintenance this world is, how high maintenance things are. Houses and cars and computers. How much care they take, how many things can go wrong, and they always need fixing or improving or just simple maintenance, preventive maintenance, protection. And of course, bodies. Talk about high maintenance. Right? Always something you have to do to take care of your body. Feed it, clothe it, wash it, sleep it. Right? I had a brother-in-law. He worked at the service desk at a Toyota dealership. And one day, this tow truck came in with this, I think it was like a Toyota Camry. And it had like 65,000 miles on it. And when the mechanic looked at it, the engine was dead. The engine had seized up. And so, of course, my brother-in-law went to the owner and said, so like, how often did you change the oil? And the guy said, what do you mean, change the oil? He hadn't changed the oil. It was amazing it lasted 65,000 miles. So there are consequences, on the level of things, on the level of bodies and cars and computers. If you don't do the maintenance, if you don't take care of them, there are consequences. It's just the nature. It's like the rules on that level, and they're natural laws. You can't circumvent them. Well, you can, but then you get towed to the dealer after 65,000 miles. And another thing that at least appears to need a lot of maintenance. Turns out it doesn't really need a lot, but that appears to need a lot of maintenance, a lot of care, is our conditioning, our minds, our thoughts, our beliefs, our concepts, and ultimately our concept of ourself, our ego. And so, because it appears to be a thing that requires a lot of maintenance, we spend a lot of time maintaining it. We do all kinds of stuff to try to improve it, take care of it, protect it, prevent any potential problems with it. And of course, it turns out that its thingness, its qualification as something that needs maintenance, it turns out to be very slight. It's not that there's no place for improving your conditioning or preventing disasters like a frozen engine in your brain. Right? We can all. There's a part of the functioning of our minds, and even of our conditioning that's just simply functional. It's a shame that guy was not conditioned to have his oil changed. That's a piece of conditioning that most of us pick up somewhere along the way. But it turns out that a lot of what happens in our mind is just purely imaginary. It doesn't actually require all the effort we put into it to improve it, to change it, to fix it. How do you do an oil change on an imaginary car? Except in your imagination, right? You struggle, but there's nowhere to put the wrench. So if you add all that together, we got all the stuff that really does need maintenance, and then all the imaginary things that we get busy maintaining beyond what's actually needed. And it turns out that when you start to think about all of that the next thing I'm going to say is really, really good news, which is that there also is something that requires no maintenance. None at all, zero. And very simply, that's your true nature. There's no fixing required, no improving required, no accumulation required, no effort required to be what you already are. Last time I was here, I spoke about a lot about a particular quality of our true nature, which is space. Of your true nature. It's it sounds abstract, but basically what I'm saying is that what you are is space. That's actually what you are made of, is empty space. And of course, there's nothing that's lower maintenance than space. What can you, again, nowhere to put the wrench. There's nothing, nowhere to, where would you go to get more? There's already plenty. What could you do to improve space? You can improve all kinds of things, but you can't improve space. Because space is no thing. It's not a thing, so it doesn't require maintenance, effort. It just is. It already exists. It's already complete. It's already perfect. So you are already complete, already perfect as this kind of empty space. Again, good news. With all the other stuff you got to take care of, you don't have to take care of your true nature. You don't have to do anything for it or to get it. Another quality of true nature that I was going to talk about tonight is this thing we call awareness. It's a quality of the same thing. So we're still talking about space. It's just, it turns out that this no thing called space is awake. Like, how does that, who knows how that works? That's like a real mystery. How does no thing have awareness? How does empty space have this, what is awareness? How does it have this capacity to register, to experience, to be able to touch and feel reality? Space itself has this ability to do that. And yet, this quality of awareness, I guess it's almost like how to express it? It's like, as empty as space is, there is a presence in it. You can almost think of it like this pressure, right? It's like space itself likes to touch things, right? Likes to smell things, likes to taste things, likes to experience things, see them, hear them. It's like it can't help itself. Many years ago, I was a massage therapist, and I used to, when I would work in people's homes, I would do house calls, and I used to put a little eucalyptus oil, the little place you put your face on the massage table, on the pillowcase that was on there, I would put a little eucalyptus oil, so that when somebody was face down, they could still breathe after about 20 minutes instead of being all so stuffed up. And so one time I just put some eucalyptus oil on my fingers and rubbed it into the pillowcase, and the client's golden retriever was standing next to me. And I was just, I guess, curious, so I held my fingers out to this golden retriever, right? And that poor dog, he was a dog, right? He had to sniff things, right? You put it in front of his face, he had to sniff it, right? So he sniffed, oh God, he didn't like it at all, It's like, eucalyptus, he'd never smelled that before, It's not, they don't usually put that in dog food, right? But he was a dog, right? So he had to sniff it again. So of course, because my hand was still there, he goes, oh God, yeah, he made this face and he scrunched up his nose and shook, And then of course he had to sniff it again. At that point I took mercy and I took my hand away. This is the nature, the quality of this emptiness that you are. Is that it has this drive in it, this irresistible drive to experience, to touch things. Whatever is there, awareness touches it. It has to go there. It has to do that. It can't not. And of course, awareness is quicker than thought. Awareness is instantaneous. Something unexpected happens, awareness touches it. And then maybe you think about it. Right? Then your thoughts try and catch up. But your awareness has already touched it, already stuck its nose into the weird smell, into the weird sensation. And in fact, what happens when we think about something, is that a thought gets triggered, and then awareness just sticks its nose in that. Right? Awareness just has to why did Nirmala do that? Or wonder what that smell is, or it names it. Like if I know what that is. A speech major in college, you would say, oh, that's a rhetorical device. And when a thought like that comes, your awareness, just as quickly as the thought itself forms, awareness touches it. Awareness inhabits it. Awareness goes into it. And this, like I said, there's no off switch. You can't not do it. I challenge you to find a moment where awareness is not jumping into something, smelling something, touching something. It's actually, going through our senses to do that. But it's awareness itself that touches, that looks, that hears. And so that's your nature. It's like that's this emptiness, this pure emptiness that is so empty, so no thing-like, that nothing can ever happen to it. I mean, it's even better than a car that doesn't need oil changes, right? It's a car that doesn't need new tires. It's a car that you can't even crash, right? It's crash-proof. Right? Nothing can ever happen to it. It doesn't even need gas. There's nothing you have to add to it. Right? So this energy of awareness, this movement of awareness, this pressure in the space itself, in your being itself, is also no maintenance. Doesn't require any effort. There's nothing you can do to improve it, to change it, to fix it. There's no difference in the actual awareness itself in anybody. There's no person or enlightened being or somebody, some teacher or something that their awareness is better than yours. Right? The awareness itself is the same. The only question is how much recognition there has been of the nature of yourself. How much there has been this recognition that is who you are, that is what you are. That what you are, nothing has ever happened to. What you are, everything happens within. It happens within the space. Everything happens within awareness. But nothing ever actually happens to awareness or to space. Again, those are the same thing. They're like just like water is transparent and fluid or wet. Those are both qualities of this same thing, water. And so spaciousness and awakeness are both qualities of this one thing called you, called being. So like I said, the only question is how much recognition of that is there. And the wonderful thing about any recognition, I spoke about this also last time, any discovery, any exploration of your true nature, is that again, not only is there nothing you need to do first to fix it, you don't need to get a better awareness first. It doesn't even have to be more expanded. It just so happens to be one of the capacities of awareness, one of the functions of awareness, that it expands and contracts. But that's just the way it functions. It's not, to know the nature of awareness, it doesn't have to be big. You don't have to go out beyond the galaxy to explore the nature of space. You can just explore the space in this room. You can explore the space between your ears. Right? You can explore a little bit, that much. and it still has all the qualities of the outer space, the entire universe. The space itself is still the same nature. And so in this, satsang is an invitation to your true nature. An invitation to notice, to explore, to ultimately realize the nature of your true nature, the way it is, what it's like, these qualities of it that I'm speaking about. And then ultimately to realize that that's who you are. That's this kind of strange boundary where you realize, oh wait, space is what notices what space is like. Awareness is what notices this innate pressure towards experience, towards everything, that it wants to touch everything. That pressure to touch is shaped by our conditioning, right? by our thoughts. Because awareness itself loves to touch everything, a long time ago we learned how to direct it by thinking. Unfortunately, we think that by thinking we're directing awareness to the thing we're thinking about. Right? We think that the harder I think about it, the more aware I am of it. Right? No, the harder you think about something, the more you're aware of your thoughts about it. Because awareness doesn't pick and choose. Awareness, if you're thinking about something, awareness really experiences your thinking. In fact, we don't actually realize we're doing this, but at some point we kind of catch on that one way not to be aware of something is to think about it. And so that's what most of our thinking is in service to. I'll just think about it, thank you. I don't really want to experience it. Don't we say that? Somebody says, hey, you want to do something? Well, let me think about it. In order to accept this invitation, to notice, to become curious about your nature, you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to sit any particular way, or not sit any particular way. I happen to like sitting this particular way, but it doesn't really change the nature of awareness. There's no reason, again, not to do things with your conditioning. Conditioning is such a powerful shaper of awareness that it often gets us into all kinds of trouble. In fact, it can get us so busy, it can be so high maintenance, makes it harder to take the time to notice the nature of awareness. And so that's why there also are a lot of processes in spirituality for quieting, dissolving, loosening the momentum of our conditioning. But at any point, including right now, at any point, just in whatever you're experiencing, my words, thoughts that are triggered by it, sensations happening in your body, sounds in the room, to explore awareness, it doesn't matter. At any point in the entire spiritual journey, the distance to your true nature is zero. There's nothing that has to happen first. That's why it's just been my observation over many, many years that there's absolutely no formula for these kind of sudden recognitions of true nature. It doesn't seem to matter whether you've read spiritual books or not. Which is, for most people in this room, that's actually good news, because it means it's okay that you've read a lot of spiritual books. Right? It's okay that you've meditated all that time. It's okay that you became a vegetarian. It's okay that you, studied yoga, and not just to maintain the body, but because there was a sense that it would do something for your awareness. But at any point, before any of that, after, during any of that, after any of that, there's also this possibility to it's so hard at this point to put into words, because the way you sense this pressure that I'm talking about, the way you can't really see it, just like you can't see really the space itself. You always see right through it. The way you experience this pressure, this drive, this impulse to touch, to taste, to smell, to imagine and experience the whole world of imagination. Even just to see what's on TV, right? The way you experience that is by being it. So it's a subtle invitation. When we now sit quietly together, it's just an invitation to allow all of that other stuff for a moment to take a little break from all the maintenance, all the effort to fix anything or change anything, and just notice that whatever happens next, wherever experience takes you, awareness goes. Awareness goes, awareness follows. Thought, awareness jumps right in. No thought, awareness jumps into the silence.